Hey everybody, I wanted to try this whole video blogging thing or whatever people are calling or whatever the terminology is. I don't know what it is. But I see a lot of people doing it. Everybody's doing it, right? Everybody's doing it. So I thought I'd give this a try. It looked like a good marketing tool that people are using and I'd like to try it. I've done the regular blogging where you type things out, but I'm a terrible writer. So this looked easier than trying to type things out. At least I think it is. But if I fumble over my words and can't get it right, I can't hit the delete button and go, wait, let me rephrase that. But I want to give this a shot. What I want to do is I want to talk about topics that I typically see in my practice, especially when it comes to marriage counseling. In this first one is a kind of a heavy topic, and I've debated for months actually on doing this. I've been wanting to do this, and this is the topic that I really wanted to talk about, at least in this first one. And it's a heavy one, and it's the question about why do people have affairs? Why do people commit adultery and cheat on their wives? And that's a really complicated question, and I probably talk for a couple of hours on this topic. And there's the obvious, where people are just selfish, narcissistic, or can't control their own impulses. I get those from time to time, but most of the time, that's not what I see. Most of the couples that come into my office, and I would say 60, 70, maybe even 75% of the couples that come into my office, someone's had an affair of some kind, whether it was emotional or a full-fledged affair, or I've got one that just came in yesterday where he sent a couple of flirting text messages to somebody, and the wife found them, and she obviously became angry and upset and called to schedule an appointment to figure out what's going on. So what I normally see is a couple where they both want to be together, and the person that's had the affair, they love their spouse, but something is missing, and they're starving for something. There's something that a need that's not being met. Let me explain it in this illustration, and I use this often. Year or so ago, I listened to this stupid sales pitch on this guy's, what he thought was his secret to weight loss, because I'm trying to figure out how to lose weight and have been for years, and I got suckered into listening to this podcast. I didn't agree with most of it, but there was one thing he did say that stuck out to me, and I immediately compared it to marriage. He said, he was talking about crash diets and why crash diets don't work, and they don't. And he said, because in those crash diets, you're basically starving yourself. And he said the problem with that is hunger always wins. Hunger always wins. You go into this crash diet, you're in it for 2 weeks, and you lose control, and you have to eat because you're hungry all the time. It's natural to get hungry. You're supposed to get hungry so that you can take in sustenance and replenish your body and get the calories you need to just function on a daily basis. You have to eat. But when it comes to relationships, we also have needs that are basic needs, such as sex, affection, attention, quality time. We need those things. We need those things in our lives, and especially when you're married, those are things that you get. You come into a marriage thinking that hunger will be fed regularly, and so many times especially in our American culture, where we're so busy, we end up neglecting the marriage. We neglect the marriage relationship. And somebody gets so hungry that they can't fight temptation. Somebody else comes along and offers them the food that they're wanting to eat, and they've been craving for so long, and they can't fight that temptation. So couple scenarios of what this looks like. Husband spends all of his time at work. All of his energy is there. He comes home. He's wiped out. He comes immediately into the living room, plops down in front of the TV, turns the TV on, and stays there and falls asleep in front of the TV, and there's no relationship with anybody in the family. He thinks because he's worked so hard at work, he comes in and thinks that he's earned that right to be able to sit down and veg while the wife takes care of the kids and the house and everything else, and there's no relationship. Or the wife or the mother puts all of her energy into the kids. Everything is about the kids. Everything's about the kids. Nothing is about the marriage. Nothing's about the relationship. And she will actually sacrifice her own needs and her own even hygiene sometimes, getting hair done, staying healthy, exercising, things like that, and neglects herself. And so in that neglectful even of herself, she's neglecting the marriage. And the husband is saying, hey, what's left over for me? And when everything's done at the end of the day, she's put the kids to bed, she's wiped out, and the husband is now wanting to have relations with his wife, and she doesn't have enough energy to give it to him. And in both of those scenarios, that's so dangerous, because you're opening up each person to be susceptible to temptation. And I hear all the time, I could never cheat. I don't understand why someone would cheat. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Listen, we as human beings have the ability to do the dumbest things. Everyone has the capability of doing something stupid. I have had so many people in my office sitting on my counseling couch say, I thought I would never do something like this. Because cheating is what I'm talking about. They never thought that they would have an affair. And here they are sitting in front of my office. I'm sitting in front of me in my office, trying to repair the damage they've done because they have given in to temptation because they were hungry. And listen, if I'm not condoning having an affair. I'm not saying that if you're the spouse that's neglecting the other one, it's not necessarily your fault that the other person's had an affair, but you've helped create an environment where the affair could take place. So many times, once I've sat down with these couples where the affair has happened, someone has been neglected or both. And in most of these cases, someone has been begging and begging and begging. I need this. This is what I need. I need this. I'm hungry. And the other spouse dismisses them completely because it may not be their need. Men generally have a higher sex drive than women. And so they want sex more often. And for moms who spend all of their energy and time and all that they have on their children, sex is not a need for them. Their love tank is being filled there, and there's nothing left for the husband. And so the husband goes days and weeks or sometimes months with no sexual relationship. And unfortunately, that's how he associates love. And wives, you may think that that's really stupid, but that's reality. There's an old saying, men need to have sex in order to feel loved, and women need to feel loved in order to have sex. Your need isn't the same as his. Your hunger is not the same as his. Your appetite is not the same as his. And so you're giving all your attention to your kids, and this coworker at work starts hitting on your husband, and he doesn't have the ability to or the strength to fight that off because he's so hungry. I have seen it the opposite. I've seen where the wife had a higher sex drive than the husband, and he didn't want to, and she wanted it. And this one scenario I'm thinking of, she started going to a gym to make herself look better, to get healthy, in hopes that maybe she would be more attractive to her husband and he would give her more attention. Well, he still wouldn't. So what happened was the personal trainer, he starts hitting on her, and she doesn't have the strength to fight that off, and she ends up having an affair. And so also women need affection and love and quality time and conversation. And so husband comes in from work and all he wants to do is sit in front of a TV or play a video game or play golf all the time, and he's being completely neglectful of the wife's needs for relationship. He's neglecting that, and then so somebody else comes along and offers her a shoulder to cry on, or an ear for her to be able to vent, and next thing you know, she's attracted to this guy and they've fallen into an affair, and it was never meant to happen, but it just did. So what's my point? We have to make our marriage relationship, the marital relationship, your highest priority. Notice I didn't say that our spouse. I've stopped saying that, because if we make our spouse our highest priority, then what we do is we do everything to meet their needs, but we're not meeting our own, and our own needs are not being met. So we do things in this relationship that is healthy for the relationship. So if you are being neglectful of your spouse, even over good things, look, your kids are beautiful. You love your kids. But if you've got nothing left at the end of the day to give to your husband, you're in a sense having an affair with your children. If you're spending all your energy at work and hobbies and video games and golf or whatever that is, and you're not giving any attention to your wife, you're in a sense having an affair with those things, with work and hobbies and video games and golf. You're having an affair with those things. And you open the door for your spouse to not be able to fight temptation. So you need to focus on the marriage relationship. The relationship is your highest priority. If that is not your highest priority, the marriage will fail. Someone's going to end up doing something that's going to hurt the other person, because you've opened up a door to let temptation come in. And just because a need is not yours doesn't mean it's not real to the other person. So saying things like you're just being dramatic, or you just need to have better self-control, you need sex too often, kind of thing, you're dismissing the other person. And when you say things demeaning like that and you dismiss them, that pushes them further into that temptation of wanting to cheat on you. They're hungry. They're hungry. You may not be hungry for the same thing, but they are. And you need to be more mindful of your spouse's needs and the needs of the relationship. Your marriage is the most important thing you have, above your children, above your job, above your hobbies, above your friends, even above your phone. That is, I should have taken a little bit more time on that. Your phone could kill your marriage. If you're spending 3-4 hours a night staring at your phone instead of having a relationship with your spouse, you're having an affair with your phone. Your spouse is constantly going to bed by themselves because you're too busy trying to keep up with social media and what everybody else is doing. What about keeping up with your husband or wife? Who's more important, your friends on Facebook or your spouse? So anyway, I know that was a longer video blog than I was thinking it would be. And I know that some people might be offended by this, and I hope not. But if you're in a place where you're starving in your relationship, seek help. Whether that's me or somebody else, find a marriage counselor. Find someone to talk to, and talk to your spouse. Pull them aside. Ask them to turn the phone off for a minute so you can talk, and say, hey, look, I'm starving. I'm hungry. And this is what's going on. And if they dismiss you, then find somebody to help. Get into counseling so you can have someone advocate on your behalf to help you and help save your relationship before you do something stupid and you end up having an affair and destroying your marriage and losing everything you have. So anyway, if you like this, share it. If you don't, don't send me any hate messages, please. Anyway, thanks. I hope this helps.